Well, welcome back. The last couple of months I've been spending a lot of time doing body work, priming, sanding. A lot of it's a lot of repetitious, so I haven't shot a lot of video. But anyway, I've got some of this together. I'll show you what I've been up to in the last 2 months. I've been making some progress. I spent the last couple of weeks working on the car, doing some touch-up welding, cleaning up some welds. I did get the whole underside, well, basically the whole car seam sealed. I'm still finding a few places though where I missed seam sealing here and there, but I would say it's almost complete. There's just a few touch-up things to do. I bought all the paint supplies. Right now, this is just a filler primer that I shot on the tub. So the whole underneath, it's all one color. I shot it inside, everywhere. It's a real thick coating. It's almost like an eggshell finish to it. I haven't done any sanding on it because I'm going to be fitting the doors and the front fenders, and I'll be shooting a lot more primer on, but I still have a lot of sanding and work to do, like filling holes. And like I said, fitting the doors, make sure everything fits good. They're pretty close. I have spent about 3 days on this rear valance. I don't know if you remember, there's a seam in this area here, right about in here, that I had to use some filler on that. That's about 3 days of work. It's really hard to get these tail lights to have a nice fit around here without body panels sticking out, and then anyway, it was a real challenge to get these tail lights to fit nice. I would say the back here is about 95% complete. I have a little bit of smoothing out to do and sanding, but I'm happy with it. It came out pretty good. Again, these fenders there's a lot of work installing these, but gosh, they look really nice. They fit really good. Again, there's a lot of work. I still have a lot of little pinholes and things like that to fill, but that's getting there. What I'm working on now is the door hinges. I want to get the doors on so I can start fitting the doors, make sure all the gaps are good around here, and on the front fenders. The door hinges are back on. I cleaned up all the threads, and I had to get some new screws or bolts going in here. Some of they're Phillips head, and they were so rusted on there, I destroyed some of them getting them out. In fact, I had to drill some of them out to get them out. You have to leave this thing loose while you're adjusting the doors, and unfortunately you have to do that with the front fenders on. Well, these two bolts here on the front that are attached on the inside to the front of the door hinge, you can't get to because of this splash pan that's on the front fenders. So what I had to do was drill a couple holes in here to get a socket wrench through here, actually through the backside this way, to tighten those hinges with the fender on. Anyway, that's what I'm doing now. Just drilled these holes so I can set this fender back on there. I'd like to have the fenders on here and then slip the door in on these hinges here. It's just easier mounting the fender because you got to get, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts here that you got to get to, and it's a real pain to do with the door on. So it's easier with the door off. And I can get it positioned roughly where it's supposed to go, and then tighten everything down later. Well, I have the front end panels on, just checking for alignment. Anyway, the grill seems to be pretty nice. Seems to fit pretty even. It's actually really close. The spoiler fits the fender really good. There's a few places here I'm gonna have to trim trim this, remove this off. I'm gonna have to fill a little bit on this side and just a little bit of sanding to get this to fit nice. And the other side, you know, there's some little chips here I got to fill and stuff, but it fits really good around here, the front fender. This sticks out a little bit on this side. I'm going to add some more glass on the back side before I file this off, because this is kind of a thin area right in here on the back side. And again, I have to trim this off on this side also, like on the left. But yeah, it's fitting nice. Need to even this off across here. Then once I get this fitted nice, I'll probably start on the hood. It's a little bit rougher than what I hoped. I'm going to try to save it, but it's not too bad, but I don't know. We'll see what happens with the hood. Anyway, this is what everything looks like. Like I say, I still have a lot of little trim work to do around the doors, lining up, getting some good gaps here. But anyway, I think I'm going to work on the spoiler up front first. These are some new upper mounts I made for the grill. The original ones weren't quite the correct length. The whole front end of this car is a little bit different than the original. So I made some new little the upper braces here, 3 of them out of aluminum. I also had to put the longer mounting plates on the grill. The original ones, the grill just set too far back inside, so I had to make some new ones. And that's what they look like in the car. Get a good angle here. I had to make some aluminum mounts. The spoiler here needs to be flush, or pretty close to even with the inner pan here on the and behind the grill. So to do that, I had to trim the glass across here to get closed. It doesn't need to be a perfect fit. It's kind of hidden by the grill. But anyway, I had to make 3 aluminum angles. Poppered them on here, and then they're bolted on the back side. Anyway, that's what they look like. I've been doing some more fitting of the front spoiler. I've got this knocked down, or at least it's getting there. I've got things trimmed off in here. Didn't have to use any filler on this side, except on the back side. This was thin on the back side, so I had filled it with glass on the back. But it's looking good there. Over here, it's still pretty close. Pretty good fit there. This is where I had to add some filler right in this area. I'm still not quite done with it. I have to do some more sanding to bring this edge back a little bit here to match the other side. But it's getting there. I've been working on the hood. The front of this had been bumped a couple of times, so it had some little minor dents on this side, but not too bad. This side was a little worse, so I had to put some filler in along this front edge right through here to bring this out to match, and also up to match the fender. It's much straighter now. I still have some sanding and minor filling to do just to straighten things. Anyway, that's a new grill. I had to add a little bit down here. The curvature was a little bit off, and this side I didn't have to add as much, just a tiny bit. But yeah, it came out pretty nice. Let's see, I'll be taking the doors off I think next. I got to get some do a little bit of sanding, clean up work on these doors, and get some primer on them. And around the back, I put the rear hatch on there just to check the fit. It's pretty close. It's off a little bit here in the corners, the two corners over here and there. I filled some of the holes. I'm just going to have the MG emblem on here. The script is not going to be there. I thought I'd leave those off just to be different. Yeah, there was a little bit of rust tissue in through here and on the back side. Let's show you what I did. I had to put a new strip along there. I still have to do some filling work on some of this. Well, I've spent the last week or so fitting the front end on here. I'm trying to get things lined up as best I can. I did get the hood straightened out somewhat here in the front. I had to add some filler in through there and here. It's just kind of still roughed in right now. I still have some sanding and filling to do to make it totally smooth. But I did get the whole thing epoxy primed. And it looks like it's sitting just about where it needs to go. I got the rubber little buffer things installed there on the gutters on the fenders. So it kind of helps hold things in place. Also the hood release pin is lining up pretty good. I took the spring off because I've been opening and closing so much. But the latch, everything seems to be working fine. What I'm doing now is I've sanded the spoiler down, trying to get it sanded so I can get some primer on these. I haven't sanded the front fenders yet. I'll pull it outside when I do that. Just to rough them up and also get any of the mold released or whatever that might have been left on there. I still have some fine tuning to do on these, but they're really close. I had to do some filling here on the and adjust the door openings on both sides. Those came out pretty close, or pretty good actually. Go around here to the other side. Yeah, this one was real close up here, so I took it back that way to try to even this out. Like I said, I still have a little bit of work to do on these, but they're really close. The front spoiler took a lot of work, fitting and getting both sides to look even from one side to the other. But they were pretty close to begin with, but they just needed a little tweaking. The door, this is the left door. I got it, you remember it was just a black epoxy primer on it before from the way I got it from Moss. I block sanded that down and then shot some epoxy primer on that. So, and it's pretty good. It came out real nice. Anyway, I did do some sanding on the left rear quarter. It's not totally done yet, but I was mainly just trying to get these door jamb, the back side of this door jamb done. Anyway, gonna take it down off the lift, roll it outside, and start doing some more sanding. Okay, I've got the doors seam sealed around these edges. Another thing I like to do before I go any further is when I put the epoxy primer on here, I like to get some in a cup and pour it along this on the inside, and then hold the door up on edge and kind of rotate it. That gets the epoxy primer down into these areas behind these folds here around the edges. I did the same thing on the rear hatch. I had to replace, there was some rust in this one corner, so I had to replace the inner little flange that folds over from right about here down to this area here. It was so rusted out, it looked really bad, so I cut it out, put a new piece in, welded a new piece in. But I also put the epoxy primer after I got this on, and again put the door hatch up on edge, and actually got the liquid all the way up into here, and well, you can see where some of it ran out up here. I'm gonna sand this off, but that helps seal in these gaps and maybe help prevent rust in the future. There was a little bit of not rust. There was a couple little dented areas right here and over here. This is just epoxy primer on there right now. I'm going to sand this down and rough it up a little bit. It's still actually a little bit rough right now, but get this sanded and get some filler primer on these pieces. I have the hatch to do. The front spoilers ready to get primed. The left door's ready to get primed. The right door's ready to get primed. I'll pull the right and left front fenders off and get some filler primer on those. So there's a lot of work to do here in the next few weeks because I'm kind of in a rush. I want to get the car painted so I can start putting things back together. Well, that's all for this episode. Thanks for watching.